Hello, everybody. Welcome to the ERIN Effect. Wherever you're watching, thanks for tuning in. We've got Mike Stafiej here. Say hello, Mike.
Hello, Mike.
Here he is. We're going to be talking today about ERIN's 2024 white paper, where, Mike, tell us how many millions of people engaged?
This is 1.1 million referrals last year alone with 750,000 users. And we're going to get into all that here in a second.
Incredible numbers. So thanks for tuning in. This is a little bit different than the regular webinar things that happen out here. We're going to pull up some live chats right here on the screen. I'll be calling those out. And welcome to the show here, everybody.
Thank you, Evan White. And you did not like my hello, Mike joke, but I'll move on past that. I appreciate everybody tuning in today. We have a really cool white paper to share with you, and that link's in the description below. You're going to have a QR code here in a minute where you can see that where you can scan that to get to the white paper and read along for yourself. We're going to go through the entire white paper today. It should only take less than 30 minutes. But the cool thing about what we're exposing today is this is kind of a first of its kind study based on this number of employee referrals from all around the world. We're going to talk about where these referrals came from, the types of businesses we're working with, in kind of the insights that we have. And I will tell you, Evan White, it truly was surprising. So where sometimes these white papers can be a little fluffy, we built our entire product under certain assumptions. And what we really found out by looking at this number of activity is the way people use our product kind of doesn't matter how we thought they would use it. And the way people engage in employee referral policies and strategies kind of doesn't matter what assumptions you make. So we're going to go through that today, and you're going to get some of those eye-opening moments from the paper. So we should dig right in.
Awesome. Quick shout outs. We got Baldino, we got Bill Fanning, Nikki Russell, Adam Posner, Mike Wood. The gang is out. Serge, hello. If you got red shoes in the mail or on, drop a comment. And Mike's going to start talking about the white paper. Let's go.
Man, I wasn't nervous until you listed off that celebrity list there. Man, now the pressure
Hensley in the house. This is going to be
Look, we appreciate everybody spending time with us. And I imagine all of you are wearing your red shoes right now. So let's jump right in. Before we could talk about kind of what we learned, we need to talk about what data was included in this study. So we had over 1 million referrals in 2024 alone, and you can see pretty evenly paced throughout the year. So the interesting thing about this data is that this is not huge spikes from one particular company or effort. This is just kind of the trend that we see ongoing. So we were able to pull some very kind of concrete data points out of it. In the people that we're looking at in this study, we did have a cutoff, and there are specific types of businesses that we included. These businesses are operating all around the world and using ERIN to automate their employee referral process. Overwhelmingly based in the US. You can see 65% of the data is coming from the US. A noticeable chunk from India and the Philippines from some of our higher volume users. And then a lot of other countries on top of that. We did cut it off, I think, only down to 2% of the graph here. So the countries with lower usage aren't included. On the right side here, you can see the industries that this data is coming from. So call outs here, the ones that are obvious: healthcare. While technology was probably the biggest part of this graph 2 years ago, that has been replaced by professional services, manufacturing, and healthcare. And you'll see when we get into the next stage here, we cut this off at 5,000 employees or more. So while I think the insights coming from this study are useful for businesses of all sizes, we specifically focus on how enterprise customers are engaging, not only with ERIN, but also with their talent acquisition teams, right? So what we're trying to understand here, rather than just reporting some cool numbers, is how do people actually participate in that talent acquisition? How do they become active participants in recruitment rather than just clicking buttons, right? And that's the insight that we have to share with you. So we'll keep moving forward. Here are the specifics. So over 1.1 million referrals in 2024. Number that I actually did not think of until about 5 minutes ago in the waiting room: 744,000 new user signups.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that, and that's just in 2024, the reason that number is so impactful is that ERIN as a company probably expanded our footprint by about 1.3 to 1.5 million employees last year, meaning businesses that are using our product, making it available to their employees. This is over 50% engagement from that number. So we're not going to talk a ton about user adoption in tech today. We're going to focus more on participation in programs, but at 50% participation, you're going to get a lot of results.
And Mike, you're saying that it's a 1.5 million new users through our customers.
Possible to participate. Yep.
Yep. And half of them are actually using the service.
Specifically 744,580.
Thank you.
Yeah. Signed up, created active accounts, and participated in the program, right? Another crazy number, especially anytime you're on this journey, you look at big numbers and you're like, wow, that's crazy. 14 million emails and notifications sent out to get this level of engagement. So just another testament of how we're getting people involved into the process. That's a big part of how they're getting involved. As I mentioned, 5,000 employees and over. So let's get right into some of the data and some quick background. When you're using a product like ERIN at your business, there's several ways people can participate. They can text referrals in, they can use the mobile app, they can use the web app. They can also send referrals in several ways as well, to email addresses, social media, text messaging. I'd say this is probably one of the most surprising things that came out of this study, which is ERIN from day one was a mobile first business, right? And that means web app, mobile app. We wanted people to use it on their phone. We wanted them
even in the URL.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, right? Send them the URL. Now, here's the thing. When you send a referral to your friend, when you say, hey, check out this job, you can send it by email, text, or social media share. Surprisingly, only 10% of those went to phone numbers, right? And you're going to see a little bit about why that is when we talk about the devices that people are using to participate. So, for example, when you're using your phone, you can add somebody right from your phone book. The assumption that we made is that people had phone numbers more than emails. And there's a few reasons why that's not actually the case. But overwhelmingly, 55% of all referrals submitted out of this 1.1 million went to an email address. They were submitted to an email address. Now, social media share, I think, fell into a spot that we kind of all expected, which is 30% of all referrals were done through a share link. So this is posting it on LinkedIn, Facebook, adding it to a TikTok video. This is a copy paste, blasting it out. Another surprising number, general evergreen recs, general referrals, however you want to call them, only 2% of all referrals were submitted to kind of categories of jobs compared to directly to a specific job. Another surprising thing here.
So people are sharing specific jobs with people, and generally through email.
Yeah, like they're typing their email addresses in and hitting send. That's how it's.
So they're thinking about their own network. They've looked through the job rec. They think that their friend or their coworker would be a good fit for, and they send that exact job to that exact person.
Yeah, and think about that transaction too. That's kind of the nuance, right? I can add your phone number from my phone book. I probably don't have your email there. So they're actually getting involved with the referral enough to get their email address to share it with them. Overwhelmingly so, right? But I think that's key, because when we talk about protecting what makes referrals great, in terms of quality of hire and speed to hire, and culture fit and retention, having at least some layer of connection there is key. And I think email address makes sense because people are going to be participating and applying kind of through that experience rather than on their phone at mass, at least, right?
Yep. Couple of comments before you move on, Mike. John Baldino says resharing roles with ease matters. Harris Rex has a question. Did tech drop off because of the general slowdown hiring across this sector?
That's a great question. And I want to go back to show you that graph. 100%. This graph would have been 30 to 40% tech back in the day. In most of last year, technology was adding negative 5,000 jobs a month to the US economy. The technology customers we work with, they're all fantastic. A lot of them went through slowdowns, hiring freezes. They're able to maintain the referral programs through us because positions are still filled even in those situations. But the need to mass recruit at speed and efficiency got dramatically cut. So it's an interesting observation. It makes perfect sense when you think about the changes that we went through the last 2 years, right?
Cool. There you go, Rex. And reminder, everybody, there's a QR code on your screen. If you want this white paper of your own, scan that QR code. You'll get a download.
So this is the other one that blew my mind. So this is across all devices. It doesn't matter if you're using the web app, the mobile app, if you're texting. It doesn't matter. What devices are being used to participate? 55% are submitting those referrals through a desktop or a laptop computer, specifically running Windows. It was like 1% to 2% running Mac. Wow. Which I think is a number that is pretty surprising, right? I thought for sure we would have at least a small majority of mobile devices in terms of participation. And we're going to tie this all together here soon, a little bit more completely. But I think the question we should be asking ourselves when we see data points like this, and we have more to back it up, is why is that the case? Why are referrals going to emails, and why are they using computers when they have multiple options to use mobile devices, right? Mm-hmm. The answer, just a teaser, is because they're participating in enterprise referral programs that may have some barriers to participating on other devices, but the majority of these are participating during the workday, during work hours, which is also something that we didn't necessarily build the solution to solve, but that's exactly what it's being used to solve. The times of referring at the bar, or at a dinner, hey, here's my link, check it out, or scan this QR code. While very important and still a significant chunk of participation, it is not the norm, right?
Well, I mean, that's a cute story. Somebody rolling up to somebody at the bar, asking them what they do for work and suggesting that they come and work with you. That's nice, but that's not what real employees are probably. Clearly, the numbers are saying this, but they're not. That's not how they're thinking about work.
You're right. Like putting your stamp of approval on that candidate, right? That is, I mean, another way to look at referrals is that culture fit. That and you're like kind of putting your reputation out there for you. You're putting some social capital on it. It depends on the rule, but in most cases that is true.
Maybe for a Lyft driver, but not for that person that's actually going to report to the manager you report to.
Yeah, and these are $1 billion organizations, right? So overwhelmingly so. Whether you're a desk worker or a non-desk worker, it is even if it's hourly. We should have clarified this earlier on. These are career professionals, meaning that in most customer scenarios over 5,000 employees, these are not 60-day turnover positions. These are jobs that you're measuring average tenure at least in years, right?
Yep. Another
Cool.
quick question on this slide here. 1 in 4 using the mobile app. Do you expect this number to go up over time?
Yeah, look, the mobile app it's always been a strong marketing play, right? So the reason that you need to have so many different ways of participating with your employees is because you have to meet them where they are. Your power users will use the mobile app, and we know that because we've seen people break it with 600 plus referrals on a single for a single user, right? So when like the page can't load on the mobile app anymore, we have to question like how we even got to that spot. So your power users that are basically treating this like a bank account, they 100% are using the mobile app. And we can see that because out of their 755,000 users, over 200,000 of them are monthly active users on the mobile app, which again is a surprising stat. It makes perfect sense that just going to a dedicated URL is the way people are mostly participating. But the fact that a measurable percentage, over 25%, are using the mobile app in that capacity, and not all of our customers have the mobile app. That's the other point here. When they have that available, it's important to think about what would those 1 out of 4 users be doing if you didn't have that option. So it's a cool observation, and again we tie that back to our strongest users and kind of our highest paid referrers, right?
I would just add to that so before I came to this industry, I did a lot of consumer tech, and if you have a mobile app getting 200,000 monthly active users, you're doing great. So the
Yeah,
fact that this mobile app has that many people moving through the app on a monthly basis, I mean, it's it's just got to grow over time.
cool stat. Definitely a cool stat. Yeah. So to answer the question specifically, yeah, it does grow with them. Like I said, not all customers roll that out, but it's a great additional way to really put yourself out there as like, hey, participate the way you want to participate. So I think probably more important than anything, I mean, so what we covered is how are people participating? So what devices are they using? How are they sending these referrals? How are they engaging with talent acquisition? But
Mhm.
what's happening with these? Because not all referrals are created equal, and we need to think about the funnel, right? Again, large businesses, billion-dollar organizations, at least 5,000 employees in each organization. Some of these organizations have hundreds of thousands of referrals over their time with us. Others have thousands of referrals. But either way, there's a level of noise that definitely needs to be cut through. So the stat we're most proud of is over 1 in 10 are hired, right? Which holds true if you're familiar with our product. We have a concept called the ERIN rule of 10, where essentially of 10 referrals, 8 of them or 10 unique candidates, I should say, 8 of them turn into accepted referrals, meaning they've responded to it. 6 of them actually apply in the applicant tracking system, and then 1 of them is hired. And we're seeing that hold true through these percentages when we look at last year, right? So about 13% of all submitted referrals were hired for roles, and that's a great stat, especially when you're comparing this to other channels that you have within the organization. Most people that are participating in job boards, especially in healthcare, you're looking around 55 to 60 applicants per hire on a job board, right? Where you're looking about 10 per hire on the ERIN referral platform. So that's one measure of quality, right? So less noise coming in, but even in getting the hires out of it, but even of the ones coming in, there's still a bunch you should not waste your time talking to be honest, right? So if most organizations would not be reaching out to every referral that is submitted. That is very rare, at least in the perspective that we have. What they're looking at are the ones that actually apply for the job. So if you look at this funnel, 87% are accepting. That means right away you have 13% that are not even responding to the invite to apply, right?
Yep.
And then from there is a barrier between acceptance and finishing an application. It's dropping another 20%. So only 67% of all referrals actually finish an application in the system. Another way to think about this for your organization is that 33% of the referrals made are not worth talking to, right?
I was
Now,
just going to ask that. At what point does the in-house recruiter's job start? It's the applied.
100%. It apply because now they're showing in the applicant tracking system, right?
Yep.
And at that point, in our product, they will be moved along through normal channels in the ATS, fully automated based on how you manage them in the ATS, syncing back to ERIN to update their status in our product. So exactly right. Like that's 33% of even the best funnel you have. 33% of them, a third of it, shouldn't even be talked to, right? Now we do have some. Now you're going to have that information depending on what part of the world you're in any compliance and privacy issues you have. You're going to be able to still see a lot of that data and participate with them if you'd like. But overwhelmingly so, our customers are not engaging with that initial top of funnel. They're only focusing on the second half of the funnel. Think about the hundreds and thousands of hours that saves each organization.
Yeah.
Um,
Immediately on implementation.
Yeah, I mean, look at the one stat on this screen: 1 in 10 decline. Like 1 in 10 don't even want to talk to you, right? So they're telling you, "Hey, it's cool, thank you, but I'm not interested," right?
Yeah.
Now, here's not. I would say this isn't surprising, but I was surprised at kind of how strong the number was. If you recall the earlier screen, 30% of all referrals were social media. So this is, hey, we're hiring. Check out this link. 14% of the hires are coming from social media. So that means the quality is basically getting cut in half, right? It makes sense. You're blasting it out. You're not doing that vetting of, hey, what's your email? I'd love to refer you to this one particular role. You're just auto blasting this out. Hey, we're hiring. Check it out. So you're going to get volume from that, but we can see here that not all referrals are created equal. Social media referrals do convert less. So if we applied this funnel to that metric alone, it would be twice as much noise if that's where all the referrals are coming from.
Yep. A couple more
But
things from the chat here, Mike.
Yeah.
We got some stats from Silk Road study that say LinkedIn hiring averages 1 in 20 submissions result into a hire.
That's a cool stat. I did not know that one, but we still got to beat.
I mean, and then next we got a question: how much time and money are saved processing job board applications versus referrals?
Yeah, and I think that's something that all businesses should reflect on, which is how much time do we spend on either the 55 candidates that came from the job board that aren't going to get hired, or in this case, the 19 candidates that came from LinkedIn that aren't going to get hired, or even in ERIN's case, the 3 or the 9 that aren't going to get hired here. So our whole process is automation, right? So what ERIN actually sells into enterprise is full automation. All the manual work managing this part of your funnel goes away. So I don't want to turn this into a sales pitch, but that's where we provide value to our customers, is that we're turning this into a larger part of their funnel and then automating that 100%. So it's like a 90 to 95% reduction in overhead.
Awesome. All right, let's keep this thing moving. People got things to do today.
Keep it rolling. I know everybody's coffee's gonna start wearing out. What happened to the people that didn't make it, right? Like when they don't come in? And this is another stat that I think we're super proud of here. And the number's a little small on my screen, but 200,000 of these referrals were deemed ineligible for bonus. So think about that from an organization standpoint. Of 1,000,000 referrals, 20% of all the referrals coming into your organization are not supposed to be paid for one reason or another. That's pretty wild. So how you're doing that today without ERIN is that you have to manage that. You have to put manpower behind it to say, is every of all the 10 that came in, are all of them eligible? What makes them ineligible? And they got to check that. We're 20%, we know we're going to get flagged as ineligible, and you should not pay money for the referral. That's what we're doing automatically for our customers here.
Awesome.
I have a sneeze coming up. So excuse me. We'll edit that one out. Yeah, we're going to edit that one out post recording here. We're coming up on the half hour. I want to talk about a few more quick things here. We've got about 10 more minutes, you guys, if you could bear with us. Please fire away your questions. We talked about why are these trends happening? And so we can't just look at data and say, oh, that's how it is. I think it's really important to think about, why are most people using work devices and referring to email addresses? Part of that is because of the segment that this study is focused on, which again is 5,000 employees or more, focused on enterprise. These are enterprise businesses, and people are participating very much in a 9 to 5 way. And what we're seeing
Mhm.
through that, and that's through work devices. That's because they have restrictions in place on how you use other devices, how you authenticate into other devices. So very much what we're saying, which is not something I would have told you a couple of years ago, or even 6 months ago, is that employees want to engage with talent acquisition during their job,
Yeah.
is part of their job, not in addition to their job, right? So your most engaged employee is doing this 9 to 5, and they're doing it when they have access to your network and your devices. Shocking. I mean, I 100% would have thought that mobile devices would have, in the ease of text messages or mobile access would make that not a true statement, but that is a true statement
They
when we
view
look
this
at
as
it.
part of their job.
Yeah.
They're recruiting on behalf of their company and their management. This is their job. They're going to get bonused out on it. Question coming in from Serge actually on referrals. When should we leverage paid referral versus non-paid?
Great question. Without getting too far into the weeds, the most successful programs do have an incentive for all jobs. It doesn't have to be the biggest incentive, but the most successful ones do provide some incentive. It could even be $25 gift card, right? It doesn't have to be $1,000 bonus. But the key is how much you should truly incentivize, and that's usually by role and difficulty to fill. $1,000 bonus often gets you the same result as a $1,500 bonus, and we know that a $3,000 bonus gets you the same result as a $5,000 bonus. So that's where you can really kind of zero this in on how much you should be paying. Now we do have customers that have actually more than I would that I feel comfortable with jobs without bonuses, and they still have lots of participation just because they've made it easier, and these are employees that truly want to get their contacts a job somewhere. So participation will go up through ease of use, but the best referring programs in the world do have an incentive on every job.
So the answer is put an incentive on your jobs, and Mike knows these stats because ERIN is bonused out over $500 million to people.
That's a good stat that we did not put
Half
in here.
a billion dollars in bonuses.
Wild, right? We have seen $500 million come through our product. We're actually on track. That trend has doubled in the last year, especially with our continued international expansion. We're on track to do $1 billion by the end of the year, which is pretty
Give it
wild.
up in the chat, folks.
Yeah, thank you. Note that our pricing model does not include a percentage of submissions or payments.
All right,
Uh,
let's moving through.
yeah, wrapping it up here. There's a few things we want to keep in mind. So now we know how people are participating, and we just need to acknowledge that as part of our policies, right? So the most useful thing I think, ERIN customers listening to this, future ERIN customers, and then just people that also just want to have rockstar referral programs. It's like, how do you meet your employees where they are? So obviously, ease of use is top of mind for everybody. They're not going to your job board today, and you really just need to ask yourself why that's happening. But keeping them in the loop, this proactive participation, what you don't want is to put the work on the candidates. That's a huge mistake. We've had a few customers do it. It does not go well. They can't be adding who referred them as part of the submission. You need your employee participating. That's what's giving you a good quality referral, not an afterthought of a referral for somebody just trying to get paid. That comes through tons of engagement tactics. And specifically, you saw the 14 million notifications that we sent out last year to keep people in the loop, to keep them involved, to keep them thinking about it. You need team communication. You need to get this down to a team level. When you're a billion-dollar organization, they don't care about the jobs in other countries or in other departments. So the more you could drive this down to essentially the manager level to get them excited and driving it to their teams, the more successful you will be. And there's easy ways to do that through signs, through email notifications, etc. As we've pointed out several times here, the biggest kind of insight that we can pull from this is that time of day and work style matter. Even for our nurses, they're referring during the day. They're referring heavily from laptop computers, even though they don't use a laptop computer. They have shared devices, right? They use their phone. So we're seeing these trends that are kind of in spite of this mobile play that we've pushed for years, which is your employees are going to refer during the workday on work devices, right? Industry specific patterns, we're talking very broad strokes here right now, but there is a difference per industry on how your employees are going to participate and how you get them to start even thinking about referrals. So you need to keep in mind kind of your employee type and the industry that you're in. Cool. Obviously, we talked about, there was a great question about the right incentives. You need to have the right incentives. You need to make it easy for them to jump in as well.
Yep.
Wrapping it up here, and then we'll end with any final questions that you have. You need the sharing tools, right? So you're going to see generational divides. You're going to see industry divides. You're going to see worker type divides in terms of how they refer. And although social sharing does convert at a lower quality than direct referrals, as we've seen here, it's a critical part of the offering, not only because you will get submissions and you will get hires, but it's also you need to meet your employees where they're at. If they see this as too difficult, they're not going to participate. So you need those share links. You need the integrations. If you're international and you're not integrated with WhatsApp, you're not going to make it, right? So those are the things you need to be thinking about. Non-monetary incentives are a great way for people to kind of fill the gaps when their teams are restricted on budget or what they can offer, especially in certain industries that have compliance restrictions, right? So offering non-monetary rewards, gamifying the experience is critical here as well. We talked about narrowing this into your strategy. You know the person on the manufacturing floor is going to engage very differently than the person in the corporate team, right, in the office building. So you need to keep that in mind on how you get them in, how you reward them, and how they can continue to participate in the program. The using data, you can't just implement something and say it's great. We have a concept here called relaunching. You launch, you look at the data, you launch again. You take what's working, you apply it to other parts of the org. You take what's not working and get rid of it, right? So you need to constantly be looking at data. I'm very excited to announce, and the email just went out today, we have some enterprise dashboards and custom reporting coming out to further support our customers in making decisions, not just kind of flailing and hoping the policy works out of the box, right?
I think that one might need to be our next ERIN Effect Live.
I love that. The data, the core of every successful employer for a program.
Right? It's got a ring to it.
And mobile optimization. So look, the mobile app is a great add-on to our core offering. Our most successful customers do have it in place. They're sourcing a fourth of their referrals from it. Their power users embrace it. Even if you're not using the mobile app, going to a dedicated URL that's branded for your business, making it easy to find, referrals.company.com, that has to be set up. They need to be able to get in without thinking to be able to participate. So meeting them where they are on the devices that they're using in their spare time, which we know is 45% of all usage, it's critical for success. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Wrapping it up here, I do want to remind everybody, you can scan the QR code on your screen. You can use the link in the description. The white paper is available for everyone. Myself, I love nerding out about this stuff. Our team is here our customer success team for our existing customers, our sales team for our future customers. They're all here to walk you through this and the insights. And we're more than happy to break this down in specific patterns for your industry and similar businesses. So please reach out to us, and you can do that on our website, erinapp.com, plus some other information here. You guys can mail us a letter, apparently, so that's available. So we invite you guys all to have a longer conversation with us, and we'd love to talk and see how we can help you with your employee referrals.
Thanks, Mike. This has been a lot of fun. Thanks, everybody, for joining us live, joining us in the chats. If you need anything, you know where to find us. And Ben Morrison, take us out.